Hello everybody, welcome back. Miner Mountain here. Today's video is a Shattered Pixel Dungeon Survival Guide. Video 3, the topics will be movement and fighting, very closely related. Very important info here. Sorry, it's a little lengthy, but it's a lot of good info that will help you. Please enjoy.
It's a turn-based game, you guys know that. There's a clock below your character there in the upper left-hand corner. Basically, everything moves relative to you, and it's like, well, you might move faster or slower. So, but that relativity will carry over to your enemies. Like, let's say crabs, you see them sometimes. They get a hit, and then they get a double hit, and then they get 2 attacks, and then they get a single hit. Why is that? Well, I think they've got like a speed of 1.75, so every 3 out of 5 attacks is going to be a double attack. Every 2 out of 5 attacks is going to be single attack. It depends on how it stacks up. I'm kind of pulling these numbers out of the air. But if you have a movement speed of 1 and you can attack every, you swinging your melee weapon takes 1 full turn, and you fight an enemy that has an attack speed of, let's say, 1.5, then every 3rd turn they're gonna get an extra attack. That 3rd attack, it'll be every 2nd attack they will get a 2nd attack. They'll hit you once, and then their next turn they're gonna hit you twice, and then the next turn they're gonna hit you once, and the next turn they're gonna hit you twice. That's how movement works in the Pixel Dungeon, Shattered Pixel Dungeon. So even like eating food takes a few turns. It's like getting caught on a trap of paralysis. An enemy will come up to you and hit you like 6 times. It's because it's relative to you. You're paralyzed. You get X amount of turns. I was hoping there'd be an enemy through this door. There is not. Anyway, I'm going to keep moving on here. I'm going to find some enemies. There are three very important things you need to do when you fight an enemy. Every time you should try to do these. This is how you capitalize. This is the first one. Always get the first attack. So I can step in here because he was sleeping, and I get the first attack. So he got to hit me once. I hit him twice, and I killed him. Your weapon should always be able to kill the current enemies you are dealing with in 2 or 3 hits. If it's taken 3 or 4, 4 or 5, you need to upgrade your weapon. You need to find a new weapon. Same with armor. Armor should be able to absorb most of damage. So I got the first hit on him. And why is getting the first hit so important? Well, let's say there's 10 enemies in here. And let's put blocking and dodging aside. Let's say you can kill every enemy in 2 hits. So if you got the first attack every time, you will only get attacked 10 times, hit 10 times by the 10 enemies in the level. Let's just say there's 10 enemies in the level. Let's see what's in here real quick. So if you stepped into him and let him attack you first, and then you hit him, and there's your first hit, and then he hits you again, and then you have to hit him a 2nd time to kill him, well, he's hit you twice. So that's 10 hits per level. And let's say he hits you for 2 damage on that 2nd hit. Well, look, you've only got a health of 20. So if 10 enemies hit you for a damage of 2 every time, that's a full health bar. So this is what I mean by capitalizing. Getting that first strike every time, right here like this, getting this first strike, it saves me a lot of damage. Saves you a full health bar pretty much every level, and I can guarantee you the Shattered Pixel Dungeon is not going to give you a potion of healing every level. It's not going to happen. So here's the second one I want to talk about right here. See this guy? He's coming after me. I want to get the first attack. Now, I could just let him come up to me, but let me tell you, there's another thing you can do. Surprise attack. This is number 2. The second most important thing you should do when you're fighting someone is get the surprise attack whenever possible. How do you surprise someone? You go through a doorway. You go around a corner. You'll know if you got the surprise attack if there's a yellow exclamation mark over the enemy when you hit them. It will give you a bonus to the damage you provide, and I don't know actually if it gives you a bonus for the damage that you deal out, but I know they have less of a chance to block it. So what I'm going to do is just going to back up here. I'm going to wait for this guy to come in. I'm going to hit him. Now you saw the exclamation mark there, so I got that bonus attack. Almost killed him. 1 hit. 2 hits, dead. This is what you want to do every time. So this guy sees me. I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to go through this door. So what am I doing? I'm following my first 2 rules beautifully. I'm going to get the first attack here, and it's going to be a surprise attack. Boom, almost killed him. 2 hits, dead. So each one of those enemies only got 1 hit on me, I believe. At least those last 2. I wasn't paying attention really to the first one. But that's what you want. You want to minimize your damage. You're capitalizing by using the geography, the topography, whatever you want to call it. This guy, he's coming at me. We're going to surprise him. We're going to get the first hit on him. And that's basically what you want to do every time, if you can. Now, obviously, if 2 enemies come up to you at once in a room like this, there's not a whole lot you can do. I'm going to get it's not a surprise attack. He was sleeping. But even without the surprise attack, I was able to defeat him with 2 hits. So, granted, it's level 1, so your supplied armor should be good enough. Your supplied weapon should be good enough. So, there's only 1 here. That's fine. I'm going to do this again. No problem. So, the third thing, which is extremely important, I think one of the most important rules, I'm just making a list, is fighting enemies one at a time. You don't want to fight enemies. I'll come back to that. There are 3 enemies in here. And just for fun, let's wake this one up. So now I got... Can I hit this guy from here? Yeah. Nope, nope. Okay, so there's 2 enemies coming after me right now, and maybe this third one will wake up. You don't want to... So if I let that rat come down, I almost called him a mouse, I don't know why, then I will get 1 attack, and they will each attack me. So I don't want to do that because you only have a chance of blocking 1 of those attacks. So if you back into a doorway like this, okay, I'm going to get the surprise attack. I'm going to get, well, not the first attack. He's hit me twice now, and I'm bleeding. Bleeding is actually a horrible thing to have. You'll see it starts killing you quick. But these guys can only hit me 1 at a time. And so I have a chance of blocking. I could step back into that doorway and step back out and get a surprise attack, but it's not worth giving up the first hit. So I'm just going to let him come in. And I'm going to take him out. Okay, now this guy's coming over, but that's fine. 1 at a time. First attack. Surprise attack through the door. I do this every time, guys. And you should too. If you want to survive the Shattered Pixel Dungeon. So here's a little something else. I can show you. I get the first attack on this guy. But you can still drag him through a doorway. And look, got the surprise attack. Killed him in 3. Much rather it have been 2, but you cannot have your way in the Shattered Pixel Dungeon. It will have... It's always a mimic. So, here is how you deal with mimics. I can run from him. And I do believe their strength is based on your strength or what level they're in. They're pretty weak in this level comparatively. Let's see if I can get out of here without him hitting me. Let's see if I can get him through the doorway. I think I might be able to, because there's 3 tiles to the south of me. Let's just try this. So I'm going to move back to here. Yeah. And then I'm going to move over to here. That's how it's done. So you'll get the first attack. And you'll get a surprise attack in the doorway. If you've got some squares to move around, some tiles to move around, I would suggest doing it. Especially if you're not sure if you can take the enemy or not. If maybe you're new to the Shattered Pixel Dungeon and you're like, hey, I think I'll just run up to this guy and fight him. That is one of my biggest flaws in gaming. I'm going to share that with you guys right now. The biggest flaws in gaming, one of my biggest flaws, is I run in and I just want to start dealing damage right away, and it bites me, comes back to bite me so many times. I wish I wasn't like that, but I started gaming seriously in the 90s, and all the first-person shooters, back when they called them Doom clones, that's what you did. You found somebody, you just started running towards them and shooting, and you could dominate that way. I mean, heck, I just bought an old copy of Unreal 3 a couple months ago for the Xbox, and it works. It works great, but you can't play like that if you're playing like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds or Fortnite or something like. You can't play like that. You'll die so quick. So don't do it. I was hoping to find another enemy here, but I haven't. There's somebody. Let's throw something at him. Oh, he's mad. So look at this. I can let him come to me. I can get the first hit, and I can still back through a doorway. You get a surprise attack. Killed him in 3. You should always be able to do that. Always, always, always. If you can't kill them in 3, you need to upgrade your weapon, and that's what the next video is going to be about. Anyway, that's all I got time for today. Miner Mountain out. Peace!